It's the first golf major of the season. It's the only golf major that's played on the same course every year. It's the Masters at Augusta, and this is a tournament like no other.
The Masters just flipped the script, quietly, suddenly, and in a way that insiders swear might change everything. What followed shocked players, rattled caddies, and sent Augusta loyalists into full panic mode. Something big is coming to 2026, and I'll break it down piece by piece as we go. Global upheaval. The storm began with Augusta's late August 2025 announcement, a decree so sharp it sliced straight through the PGA Tour's old comfort blanket. Gone were the sleepy fall season automatic invites, those soft-landing PGA events like the Sanderson Farms Championship and the Houston Open that had quietly funneled mid-tier pros into the Masters field for years. In their place rose a global mosaic. Winners of major national opens like the Australian Open, South African Open, and Chilean Open now held the coveted ticket. It was a shift engineered with surgical precision, packaged by Augusta as pure global recognition, yet whispered about in locker rooms as a cold-weather weapon forged in the PGA Live turf war.
Show me Max.
Back here, Scott.
At least right there.
What an amazing opportunity for us to be able to partner up with Augusta National and be a part of this project and to see it firsthand. We just moved the first green from there to where the two flags are. So we're staying in the original first tee, but we're going to move it to us players right.
Patrons studying the change felt the tremor instantly. Many remembered how the fall series had served as backdoor invitations, especially for players who hovered just outside elite ranking tiers. Under the new rules, Augusta was no longer rewarding seasonal timing, it was rewarding national prestige. That meant a player could bomb out on the PGA Tour, fly to Adelaide or Johannesburg, steal a national title, and suddenly stride down Magnolia Lane like a world beater. It tilted the hierarchy with a single stroke, forcing every player to glance nervously beyond US borders to defend their path into the field. Augusta insiders insisted this global spread had been brewing for years. Scouts, planted quietly at international tournaments as early as 2024, had been tracking raw talent like undercover agents. A 22-year-old phenom at the Indonesian Open reportedly caught their eye, a kid with whispers of tiger-like mechanics and a spine that didn't bend under pressure. He was the sort of wildcard Augusta now wanted front and center. Meanwhile, established PGA veterans weren't celebrating. In private chats, they lamented that the Masters might water down the field by opening its doors to less tested international winners. One top 20 pro went so far as to claim this was Augusta's way of guarding the status quo by making the threat unpredictable, an accusation that hinted at deep paranoia among the sport's elite. And yet, the most explosive detail came with Augusta's retroactive clause. Winners from 2025 would also qualify. That meant surprise invites were already in motion before December even hit. As the holidays crept closer, players waited like students who'd skipped class and prayed their name wouldn't be called. Augusta's move wasn't just a qualification shift, it was a reshuffling of power, history, and expectation, leaving the 2026 Masters field trembling with unpredictable energy. Wildcard invasion. The global door had barely swung open before names began flooding through, each more dramatic than the last. Golf circles buzzed like hive mind group chats as international champions suddenly found themselves staring down the possibility of April's azalea-lined showdown. Matteo Manassero led the charge, a revived Italian star whose career arc resembled a roller coaster looping through triumph, burnout, and redemption. His 2025 Turkish Open victory had once seemed like a blip in a long climb back to relevance. Now, it had transformed into a possible Masters invitation that could resurrect Italian golf nostalgia, stretching back to Costantino Rocca in the mid-90s. Insiders painted Manassero as a blend of classic Seve magic with a modern social media sheen, a formula Augusta could harness to spark a continental revival. But whispers didn't stop in Europe. Across the globe, Akshay Bhatia's rise became the storyline no one could ignore. Fresh off past PGA wins and rumored to be riding momentum from an Indian Open triumph, his name floated through DMs and country club bars with speculative urgency. Patrons gossiped that his star-powered personal life, complete with a pop culture romance, threatened Augusta's famously quiet atmosphere. Yet analysts countered that his presence wasn't a ploy for diversity optics, but pure competitive merit. His methodical game, Fearless swing mechanics and youthful swagger made him feel like a wild card forged specifically for Augusta's pressure. Every rumor only thickened the sense that Bhatia could become the Masters' breakout lightning rod. South Africa added its own thunder with Erik van Rooyen's gritty national title win. Johannesburg backyards and braais hummed with pride as fans joked he was the anti-Scheffler, all instinct, little robotic polish. His emotional style and flair carried an unpredictability that fans adored and rivals feared. And he wasn't alone. Insiders claimed Augusta expected at least 3 mystery qualifiers in the final 90-player field. Names from corners of the golf world that rarely touched global broadcasts, now thrust into the Masters spotlight through national victories. One anonymous executive even teased a Latin American newcomer prepping for Augusta by learning the pimento cheese recipe. Whether myth or truth, it captured the wild tone of the moment. 2026 would be defined as much by the unknown as the legendary. Where past Masters fields leaned predictable, these new entries promised chaos. Every wildcard came with cultural flair, grassroots momentum, and a fresh storyline eager to collide with Augusta's rigid traditions. And in the shadows, the established stars felt the heat rising on their necks. Favorite fractures. While the newcomers stirred excitement, the Masters kingpins returned with cracks in their crowns. Scottie Scheffler entered 2026 as the unrivaled favorite, a 2-time champion and betting darling sitting at plus 350 odds, a staggering 22% implied chance to snag his third jacket. But beneath the glossy exterior, gossip seeped like water into Augusta's creeks. Rumors from his inner circle suggested his pudding, once comically machine-like, had grown shaky after lingering tension from his 2024 arrest incident. Rivals snickered privately that no stat model could buffer the Augusta pressure cooker if a microscopic yip decided to flare at the wrong moment. Even the confident aura that had defined his dominance seemed to flicker in certain practice sessions.
We've designed it for playability and access. It will be fast, it will be quick, and it'll be fun.
It's going to be great. You're going to be able to see everybody at one time on the golf course. Be people in all 9 holes. Probably, it'll be wonderful.
Again, it's not intimidating. When something's not intimidating, you're going to want to be part of it for multiple times.
Behind him, Rory McIlroy lurked with his eternal Grand Slam quest gnawing at him like an unfinished sentence. He trailed in the odds at plus 700, not far, but weighted with emotional baggage from his 2025 failure to close the loop. Off-course static, whether marital gossip or whispered doubts about mental fatigue, swirled around him with tabloid enthusiasm. Augusta had always loomed as his fate-writing stage, and 2026 felt like the moment where he either ascended or fractured completely. Then came Ludvig Åberg, the Swedish prodigy whose meteoric rise had golf traditionalists swooning. His icy composure and poise in global events positioned him at plus 1300. But insiders reported tension with his caddy over green reading strategies, a rift caught on microphones in past tournaments. That crack in communication created suspense. Would his brilliance be amplified or undone by Augusta's ruthless slopes? Jon Rahm, now a LIV titan, commanded plus 1600 odds and an aura of defiance. His presence alone threatened to ignite Augusta drama. Fans plotted boos, critics debated his loyalty, and analysts wondered whether Augusta's olive branch invitations to LEV defectors masked deeper tensions. His game remained undeniably lethal, but emotional volatility hovered like a shadow. Bryson DeChambeau rounded out the chaos with his endless quest for golf science supremacy and his top-tier positioning at plus 1600. Leaks about his experimental quantum putter prototype, tested at a secret ranch, spread through golf channels like wildfire. If Augusta's greens accepted that invention, the leaderboard could warp in ways no one predicted. The favorites were strong, but all carried fractures. And in 2026, those fractures would either glitter in the sunlight or shatter under pressure. Tradition. Tremors. The Masters had always wrapped itself in tradition like a velvet cloak, but 2026 arrived with tiny tremors running beneath the surface. Each ritual, carefully preserved for decades, faced a new kind of spotlight as Augusta prepared for its globalized field. The Champions Dinner, a relic of 1952 courtesy of Ben Hogan's invitation to past winners, stood first in the line of scrutiny. Rory McIlroy, fresh off his emotional 2025 triumph, was already teasing a Northern Irish twist for the event. Leaked whispers from inside Augusta hinted at soda bread, Cole cannon, and a bold toast honoring the new worldwide qualification era. It was a small gesture, but one that unsettled purists who still clung to the idea of a strictly American-leaning Masters identity.
This is great. This is so exciting.
Thank you, guys.
So exciting.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh man,
This is incredible, right?
A great partnership.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be.
Every tradition had a story, and with each story came tension. The famed green jacket, introduced for members in the post-war boom of 1949, carried its own rebellious lore. Tales like Gary Player's unintentional smuggling of his jacket to South Africa resurfaced as fans wondered if 2026's champion might defy protocol again. Rumors swirled that McIlroy, sentimental and theatrical, was considering gifting his daughter a moment with the iconic jacket. Even if symbolic, the idea alone rattled traditionalists, who viewed the jacket as sacred property meant to exist only within Augusta's gated world. Meanwhile, the Par 3 contest brought its own stir. The sweet, family-friendly Wednesday event had never produced a champion who went on to win the real thing, creating a jinx so revered that even the boldest players feared breaking it. In 2025, Charlie Woods' debut as his father's caddy nearly disrupted the superstition, and fans wondered whether 2026 might be the year someone finally defied the curse. Yet beneath the innocent charm was a sign of shifting priorities. Augusta's willingness to lean into familial spectacle, social media moments, and global nostalgia. Even the humble pimento cheese sandwich, long the cheapest and most iconic concession at the tournament, wasn't safe from critique. The 2013 recipe saga, when a supplier swap caused patrons to riot with Southern politeness, still echoed through concession lines. In 2026, caddies and patrons claimed the taste had drifted less tangy, a minor complaint, yet one that symbolized a broader discomfort. Augusta was changing, slowly but undeniably. Through every tremor ran the same question: could Augusta evolve without losing its essence? Or had the global era already begun reshaping it from within? Fairway secrets. Behind the scenes, Augusta National moved like a shadow, quiet, precise, and always 5 steps ahead of public knowledge. For 2026, the grounds team had embarked on one of its most subtle but impactful rounds of course adjustments yet. Officially, Augusta never changed. Unofficially, drone flyovers and whispered caddy confessions told a different story. Holes 7 and 11 appeared to carry new, faint recontouring. Greens shaved in strategic spots, slopes softened or sharpened, and fall lines adjusted to influence the tournament's Sunday drama. It was the latest episode in Augusta's eternal quest to honor Alister Mackenzie's 1933 blueprint while still defending itself from the arms race of modern clubhead speed. Players who relied on brute force sensed the trap. After Augusta shifted the number 2 tee box in 2024, stretching the par 5 by 15 yards, many feared that 2026's invisible adjustments would punish the predictable bomb and gouge style. A grounds crew veteran admitted as much during the 2025 media night. It wasn't about length anymore. It was about deception. Hidden bunkers, quieter runoffs, and optical illusions would force players to think, not just swing. But perhaps the biggest shift wasn't even on the main course. Down the road, Augusta National poured millions into the Patch Project, a renovation of Augusta Municipal Golf Course that included Tiger Woods' 9-hole loop short course. It was affordable, open to the public, and deliberately designed as a pipeline for young, diverse talent. Insiders speculated that this wasn't just goodwill. The Patch had become Augusta's secret scouting ground, where future amateur invitees might quietly emerge. Turf rolled out in August 2025, greens sprigged in October, and by spring 2026, the loop promised to be Augusta's off-site proving ground. Patrons debated whether this modernization diluted the club's exclusivity or amplified its influence. The record fountain near the 17th tee gleamed with its etched champions, as if reminding everyone that, despite the changes, Augusta's story was always one of evolution disguised as tradition. Now, with national champions entering the field through far-flung victories, even the quiet redesign of Hole 13, rumored to add 40 more yards of strategic torment, felt like part of a larger plan. Augusta wasn't just adapting, it was fortifying itself for an era where unpredictability was the new currency. Live shadows. Hovering over the 2026 Masters like a storm cloud dipped in oil money was the ongoing LIV Golf saga. Augusta's relationship with LIV players had softened just enough to introduce drama, but not enough to signal full peace. 12 LIV veterans still held lifetime exemptions, including Jon Rahm and Phil Mickelson, ensuring their automatic return. Yet for those without historic credentials, Augusta remained a fortress. Chairman Fred Ridley insisted that no special pathways existed for LIV athletes. If they wanted in, they would have to win national opens or meet standard exemptions just like everyone else.
And they don't have fans or spectators at Augusta, they call them patrons. Getting a ticket is almost impossible, and trying to solicit one within half a mile of the course could get you arrested. I'm not kidding.
This set off a global scramble. At the Hong Kong Open alone, nearly 30 LIV players attempted to punch their ticket to Augusta, not for glory, but for legitimacy. Among them was José Luis Ballesteros, the fiery Spaniard whose errant 2025 Masters shot nearly struck a patron and turned him into a controversy magnet overnight. His quest for redemption through national victories became one of the tour's most talked about side plots. Fans debated whether his lineage, descended from Chilean Open legends and linked to Olympian parents, could carry him back to Augusta. Rahm, always polarizing, marched toward 2026 with defiance. His +1600 odds reflected both respect and resentment. Patrons planned to boo him. Critics argued over his choice to defect. Yet Augusta couldn't deny his talent, and his 2023 green jacket guaranteed his presence whether fans liked it or not. Rumors of heckles, caddy tensions, and pressure cooker emotions added fuel to an already volatile storyline. Other LIV names floated in limbo. Graham McDowell, once a US Open champion, wandered the globe chasing national opens to revive his major eligibility. Sergio Garcia's renewed PGA goodwill hinted at thawing relations, while Hudson Swafford's 5-year PGA suspension reminded everyone that the fractures between tours still ran deep. Meanwhile, whispers about the future grew louder. LIV's shift to 72-hole formats and larger fields in 2026 signaled a strategic push to earn world ranking points again, an effort to flood future major fields through legitimacy rather than controversy. Odds insiders even predicted that if Brooks Koepka's LIV contract expired at the end of 2026, he might return to the PGA Tour, reigniting the rivalry from a different angle. And through it all, Augusta stayed stern. No loopholes, no shortcuts, only merit, legacy, and the relentless pressure of Rays Creek. Yet the tension was palpable. LIV shadows loomed over every storyline, every pairing, every whisper in the patron galleries. The 2026 Masters wasn't just a tournament, it was a battlefield where tour politics and personal pride collided under the Georgia sun. As Augusta steps into its boldest, strangest, most unpredictable Masters era yet, every storyline feels like a fuse waiting to spark. Global wildcards, fragile favorites, shifting traditions, secret redesigns, and LIV tensions all collide on golf's most mythic stage. One swing will rewrite everything, and 2026 is ready to erupt. So like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you in the next one.